Well, hello and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. This is Regina Clark here in Colorado Springs, and today I wanted to talk to you about the laws that govern the universe. And that may seem like a heady topic or a big topic, but it's really simple. That's what I always want for myself, and what I want to communicate is the simplicity of the world that we live in and how we can move in it to get the best results. So, starting with the idea that there are these laws. So, we're very familiar with something as simple as the law of gravity. It's a law. We don't question it. We don't think twice about it. We don't think that if we're going to step off of a fourth story building that we're not going to fall to the ground. That's just not part of our reality or the world that we live in. And so we understand it. It's fixed, it's immutable, and it works every time. So it doesn't matter how you feel, it's still going to work. And so I love taking that kind of thinking into these other areas or other laws that maybe sometimes I question or I have a problem with or something like that. So, one of the things that I don't know, many of you may already you're very aware, very knowledgeable of lots and lots of things, and then maybe some of you this is the first time to hear some of these things. And so the law of vibration often is referred to the law of attraction, but it's another law. Really, the base of the law of what people call the law of attraction is vibration. And so this idea that everything is energy, that everything is moving. And if you really want to get your mind blown and you want more about this idea or concept, you can watch What the Bleep. And I probably saw that, I don't know, for the first time. It's an older movie. It's probably been 20 years. Maybe since it's been out. I didn't look it up, but that's one that you can look at to help understand that nothing is really solid and that there's a vibrational element to everything. And so that's a super interesting concept to understand. And we'll talk more about these things. I'm just kind of hitting a couple that you may have heard of or maybe you want to learn more about. The one that I wanted to focus on today, if you've ever heard of the law of believing. And so this is one that even as far back, well, there's a James Allen, right? There's a famous quote that he says, or it's a book, as a man thinketh. And it's pretty well known. And it comes from Proverbs 23:7, which is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So oh boy, this is really big because a lot of times we have things in our lives and we go, well, there's no way. I did not do that. I did not believe for that or whatever. So, this is where it gets really interesting. And I think it's really helpful to understand more of what's going on. So, it doesn't necessarily say it's not what we think or how we think. It's what we think we become as we think. So it's not telling you what to think or not think. It's just giving you the law that as you think, right? So that becomes really important. And I want to remind us that a belief, because I think, oh, I don't believe that. I would never do that. But a belief is simply a thought that has been repeated over and over and over again until it works its way down into my subconscious programming. And that's going to be a topic probably for a whole nother time and maybe even a whole month, talking about the subconscious and the conscious mind, because the reason it's called subconscious is because we can't access it. We can't just pull it out and go, oh, what's in my subconscious mind, right? But what we know is that if I have something that was programmed, and we know that most of that happens before age 8, then it's already instilled, and without me even knowing, it's running on autopilot. And so there may be a belief that I don't have access to, right now that I can say, but what I can do, here's the thing, is I look at what's showing up in my life. What do I see? What am I manifesting? Okay. And so then that's going to give me a clue to what the subconscious programming has instilled because it was taught at an early age. We were like those little sponge. We absorbed it all. And again, the brain, remember, it's like a computer. It's amoral. It doesn't care what you're programming in, but just that you're programming. And so a lot of this was outside of our control, depending on the environment, the family you grew up in. And so I love thinking about how can I change? That's what I want to do. I want to change in the quickest way possible. So one of the first things I'm going to do is pay attention to what's showing up in my life. And then I'm going to start to instill the best that I can, a different thought, one that is in alignment with who I am today and who I want to become. And I'm going to have to repeat it. Remember, that's how it gets programmed. It's over and over and over again. And so I don't want to become discouraged when immediately my whole world doesn't change, that I'm not now manifesting or seeing it differently than what I did, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, that type of thing, because it's going to require ongoing consistency, effort, dedication, self-discipline to do these things in our lives. And so that's why I'm so adamant about like my morning practice or my gratitude practice, because I know that I need to fire and wire a different set of beliefs than I may currently have. And I know that because of what's being manifested in my life. And so that's the first thing I can do is start catching my thoughts and telling and say what I want. What is and again, this is tricky because the subconscious, right? It's if they're telling us we're thinking 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day, that is a lot of autopilot that we don't even notice. So we want to start noticing. We want to be awake. We want to be conscious. We want to be aware. And we want to think about what we think about. We want to notice what we're noticing. And so there's so much great information here. So that's the first thing, is to start paying attention. Number two, then, is to start imagining the end result that you want. We're the only creatures on the planet that can use imagination. And so to get the desired result, I can start imagining something different than what I'm currently experiencing. And at first, it may seem ridiculous. It may seem like this is never going to work. It may seem like, oh, that's not true, or I'll never believe that, or I'll never have that. But again, it's the repetition to think a different thought and to see a different picture. The brain works in pictures. People have used this for a very long time. There's no high level athlete or musician or uh, karate expert. You can take any field, and everyone has pretty much accepted that you can visualize the outcome that you want, and you're going to get better results because then your body and your brain line up to give you the best outcome. So that's what I have for you today. I don't want to go too far, too deep. It's a big topic. So we're going to spend the month of April talking about these things, talking about our mind, talking about our imagination, talking about our thoughts, talking about these universal laws that govern the world we live in. Because if I don't know the rules, how can I play the game? And I want to win. You know, that's a part of who I am. I want to figure these things out and I want to have success in my life, and I know you do too. So next week I'm going to be in Mexico visiting my daughter. So I'll sign in from Mexico. I'll show you the beautiful area that I'm at, and we'll talk more about these things. So until that time, notice what you're noticing. Think, what would I rather have, and then see yourself performing in the way that you want to perform.